Did the Detroit Lions repair their men with Calvin Johnson? Let's talk about it.
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes?
Hello, everyone. My name is Derek, and welcome back to the Gridiron Blitz. On this channel, we do predominantly Detroit Lions content with some NFL, college, and soon-to-be USFL live streams as well. So if that's your type of thing, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, be sure to check out the pinned comment for Detroit Lions Syndicate, where it's just nothing but Detroit Lions on that channel. It's kind of an algorithm thing. So subscribe to that channel, and let's get this thing going. Calvin Johnson posted a tweet saying, "Back in the Lions' den." Now, for those of you who have been following the Detroit Lions for the past 5 years, almost 6 now, Calvin Johnson and the Detroit Lions have had somewhat of a huge rift between him and the organization since his retirement. Calvin Johnson kind of abruptly retired right before the 2016 season. So it was in the spring of 2016. We had just finished the 2015 season, and then Calvin Johnson had decided to retire abruptly on the Detroit Lions. When he did that, they actually requested that he return $1.6 million of what I believe was his signing bonus or part of his contract. I'm not really sure, but they asked him to return it. And I think it was so much per year, and he had fulfilled 2 years of that, and that was the last year that he had yet to fulfill. But this is all coming off the dome. I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, the Lions asked him to return it. And since that moment, there's been a giant rift between him and the Detroit Lions. But over recent years, that gap has begun to close a lot. There was a time that Calvin didn't even come around the organization. I want to say it was when Sheila Ford Hamp took over, which was about 2 years ago, two-ish, maybe a little bit before that. Calvin Johnson started to come around the Detroit Lions organization. I would say within the last year, Calvin Johnson appeared on several podcasts, and just keeping it real. When asked what could the Detroit Lions do to repair that rift, he just simply said, they need to pay me the money that they owe me. Not in little pieces or anything like that, but the whole thing. Sheila Ford Hamp was open to paying Calvin Johnson that money. But the issue is that they were one of the things that we thought they were trying to do is figure out how to get it back to Calvin Johnson, because it's not like they take it out the pocket and give it to Calvin. It actually goes against the team. I can't remember if it's the salary cap or the dead money. I want to say it's the salary cap, but you guys don't know if they were to pay him back. So it wasn't that simple. So she was open to maybe paying him back in installments or something like that. But he stood firm and said, no, I want all of it. I want my money, and I want it now, like J.G. Wentworth. And then Calvin Johnson began to come around a little bit more and more and more. And if you ask me, what I think happened is it was after the Hall of Fame induction when he came to Ford Field to accept his Hall of Fame award. The Detroit Lions were the only team that he played for the 9 seasons that he was in the league. And I think maybe that's when, I want to say that was sometime during the season. It was between one of the games at Ford Field that the Lions were playing. And I feel like maybe that's when the organization really tried to repair the rift and figure out a way to get him this money. Now, I just got a couple things to say. One thing is Barry Sanders left in a similar way. There was a huge rift for probably a decade or so where Barry Sanders preceded Calvin Johnson and Lions greats that just for some reason or another would not come around the organization. Chris Spielman had been around for a while, but Barry Sanders no. And then all of a sudden they mended things, and Barry's like an ambassador for the Detroit Lions. And as I got to be honest with y'all, back in 2019, I was very hard on Calvin Johnson. I was all team Detroit Lions. I just figured, it was selfish what Calvin Johnson was doing, and I sided with the Detroit Lions. Then I watched a video by FLEMLO Raps. You all know who FLEMLO Raps is. I'll put it in the description below, the video that I'm referring to. And I saw what Calvin Johnson had to go through in order to continue to play for our team, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that made me reassess the way that I thought. And then I sided with Calvin and was like, the Lions should really give this man back his money. Matter of fact, in 2019, it was a very divisive topic. I mean, you were either on this side or on the other side. It was no in between. Like I said, I was very transparent. you guys know, if you've been following me for the last couple years, you know I was all team Detroit Lions. I just looked at it from a selfish standpoint from Calvin Johnson. And my main thing about Calvin being selfish was not toward the Detroit Lions. It was toward the fans, toward the people that came to cheer him on every single week, that wear his jersey on their back, that he was kind of turning their back on his back on them because we want to see him. But like I said, Calvin did what was best for him. And now Calvin Johnson and the Detroit Lions, after almost 6 years, it'll be 6 years in March that he retired, they might have been able to figure this thing out and get Calvin Johnson around. Can you imagine what Calvin Johnson being around as an ambassador, very similar to Barry Sanders? He already spends a lot of time in Detroit. He has some businesses around here. Could you imagine what that would mean for this franchise? Now, I'm not a superstitious guy at all, but I think if you put out good, then you get good in return. So with the Detroit Lions putting out good, could this possibly mean that they're turning a corner with this franchise? To be honest with you, I was very skeptical of Sheila Ford Hamp's ability to run this franchise due to the historically bad way that her father ran it. And then, I mean, her mother did a little better, but, you know, was still very questionable. And I was one of those people that as long as the Ford organization owns this team, that we would never amount to anything. But I must say that when it comes to Sheila Hamp Ford, there were some things that she had to do to prove to me that she was a woman of her word. If you guys remember the open letter to fans from 2019, it was at the end of the 2019 season, pretty much assuring us that they wanted competitive football or that Matt Patricia would be fired. Changes will be made in the front office. And I said, okay, Derek, this is the first test that she has. She was part of firing Jim Caldwell. She was part of hiring Matt Patricia. And she was also part of retaining him for that third season. And I said, okay, Derek, this is when it's going to start. If she backs up her word, then you can start to believe. Last Thanksgiving, a couple days after Thanksgiving, we fired Matt Patricia. That was number one. The second thing she did was hire two minds who know the game of football, and she seems to be getting out the way, something that her father really never did. Not a Jerry Jones type, but he had his hands in a lot. And now, repairing the rift with Calvin Johnson goes a long way to say that maybe the Fords don't need to sell the team in order for them to be successful. I mean, look at the Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell draft that we just had. Look at the fact that we have 10 picks coming up this year, and as it stands right now, 9 next year. Look at it like this. We also have 4 of the top 64 players coming out of college in the next 2 years. I must say, man, I believe in Sheila. She's gone a long way to kind of undo the curse, if you will, affiliated with this franchise. So we shall see. But so far, I got to give Sheila an A, man. And I think Calvin Johnson, this was the icing on the cake to really, you know, rebuild my faith in this organization and give me some hope that the Fords can put together a winning organization. Think of all the good Calvin Johnson could do coming in, working with an Amon-Ra St. Brown, even if it's just the mentality, the mental aspect of the game. And he gets out on the field potentially, not to play, but to kind of to coach these guys up, man. You never know what role is waiting for Calvin Johnson inside of the Lions organization. So if they did repair this rift and everything is copacetic with Calvin Johnson, I'm very, very proud of the Ford organization. And I have to admit that I was wrong about not paying Calvin Johnson his money. So let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about Sheila Ford Hamp, the Ford organization, the Detroit Lions, and Calvin Johnson possibly being on the mend? How does that make you feel? After you check out Detroit Lions Syndicate, make sure you go check out the phenomenal piece that FLEMLO Raps put together about the Detroit Lions and Calvin Johnson. Come back over here and let me know what you thought. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Go Lions.